Now, you always ask me, and I will ask you, who do you want to begin with? Because we've got Turnbull, Walker, Sanchez, and Nola.
Let's start with Aaron Nola.
Ooh, from the top. All right, number 2 guy in our pitching rotation, Aaron Nola. We know he signed a nice, hefty 7-year extension, that $172 million deal. And we wondered, what Aaron Nola would we get in 2024? Well, this season's Aaron Nola showed up in a great way as the number 2. We remember the struggles of the fourth inning. We remember the ups and downs that he's had in past seasons, but he's Mr. Durable, Mr. Reliable. And so when you look at his stats for the season for Aaron Nola, he had a chance to make 33 starts this season, which is top across the league, actually, one of the most games for pitchers. He also went 14-8 on the season with a 3.57 ERA. He had a 3.6 WAR, pitched 199 and a third innings, just shy, so close of 200 innings, but did have 197 strikeouts with a 1.199 whip. And this was his lowest Ks percentage since his rookie year at 24%. Now, Nola, as we know, was a guy you can trust on, Mr. Calm, cool, and collected. Always going to give you the same demeanor. Never too high, never too low, never going to get shaken depending on the moment. And so even down to the postseason of questions around, should he be the number 2 game starter or number 3 game starter? You knew regardless you were going to get a very good Aaron Nola. And for him to have in the postseason alone, in the NLDS, a strong performance. And we knew going into Citi Field in a situation where the series is now tied up 1-1, it was a big moment, and Aaron Nola stepped up. He was able to have 8 of 22 whiffs. He also which was 36.4%, and then unfortunately just didn't get any run support, which was a theme all playoffs for the Phillies. I don't feel like Aaron Nola's season this year was a bad one. I think that he actually, when I look at his numbers statistically and comparing to the past, I think it was more about his ability to not have as big of a dip. He had moments, which is why we even were nervous about him come postseason time, where he struggled to get through the order, especially the second time. And I remember pulling out a random number of like the 3rd, 7th, and 8th batter were an area of struggle for him at one point in the season. There were the natural ups and downs for Aaron Nola, but I thought overall it was actually a very steady year. And because of how great Zach and Christopher Sanchez were this season, Aaron Nola kind of gets a little bit pushed to the back seat, but I would give him a solid B on the season. I thought Aaron Nola was steady. I thought his numbers were exactly what you expect. He gave you, as Mr. Durability, he gave you the innings you wanted, and he gave you everything you expected from Aaron Nola. Like, I don't think he's never going to be a flashy pitcher. You know, he's going to throw deep into ball games. He's going to be able to get out of a jam and handle the game well. And I thought he did exactly that consistently. You always kind of knew what you were getting for him this year, which to me, compared to last year, was a major upgrade, where he had those stretches of the season, fourth inning, where you were terrified for what you were going to get from Aaron Nola. So I give him a B. I think it was just a solid year from Aaron Nola.
I have a B+ for Aaron Nola. And most people in the chat seem to be saying like B+, like Larry's Backyard Barbecue. So we're pretty much right there in the same area. I think the word you use that's perfect for Aaron Nola is consistency. When you look at his baseball reference page from year to year, it usually hovers remarkably around the same. Innings pitched, Ks, ERA dipped almost a whole point this year, but he's kind of that 3.5 to 3.8 ERA range pitcher, which is really, really good. His ERA dropped this year. You got to get a lot of credit for that. But everything else across the board is like remarkably consistent. It's just that's his best attribute, is his consistency. He goes out there and gives you 200 innings. Listen to his innings outside of the COVID year. 168, 212, 202, 180, 205, 193, 199 this past year. Home runs dipped a little bit to 30, down from 32. His walks did go up slightly, but again, it's only 5, so it's like remarkably consistent. His fielding is strong. His hits per 9 went up just 0.2. His home runs per 9 went down 0.1. His walks per 9 went up 0.2. His Ks per 9 went down 0.5. So, like, when you just look at it and compare it to the year prior, because that's all I really do. I can't hold him up to the standard of 2017 Nola or whatever that season was when he was like a 2. Wait, what was his best year? Was it 2018 or it was 2018?
2018
237 ERA.
Yeah.
That's kind of a little bit of the outlier. But the thing with Aaron Nola and a B+ to me is just like consistent.
Yeah.
You have flashes of greatness. You have some human moments. But Aaron Nola to me is just like, he's a great number 2 to have. Probably can be a number 1 on a lot of teams because there's some bad pitching out there. But you know what you're getting with Aaron Nola. He's remarkably consistent.
Yeah, consistency is key. And it just allows you to know each and every day what you're going to get from him. And as you mentioned, not only game to game, but year to year. And I know as you were talking about, the grades in the chat are right on par for that as well.
It's remarkable. Like everything stayed the same.
For not signing with the Braves alone. Yeah, thankfully agreed with that. And also Chris Slemmer is saying a solid B. And his mistimed home runs given up are backbreakers sometimes. Definitely has to try to cut those down. But I also feel like for the most part, when it comes to starting pitching, this issue this season was not them, as we all know. And it was at some point you can only hold the team and carry the team on your back for so long without any run support. It's with inning after inning after inning, when you have those stretches, especially look at the postseason of not getting any run support and you're holding on to the game, you're keeping it a scoreless game, at some point the dam's going to break potentially. So I thought solid season from him, which I think leads us perfectly into our next solid season. And actually, this season was a lot more superb than many would have thought. Let's get into Christopher Sanchez's numbers for the season, because when you want to talk about year-to-year consistency, this is year-to-year progress and growth for Christopher Sanchez. And I know Rob Thompson was mentioning it for Christopher Sanchez. It's amazing the steps he's taken. He was saying the growth he's had. He started the year around 92, 93 command in the baseball. And then towards the end of the season was around 95, 96, 97, maintaining his command, the changeup, all the nuances, his slider, his changeup were all there, going deep into games, and also the numbers he put up were fantastic this season. Looking at the stats for Christopher Sanchez on the 2024 year, I don't know if anybody would have penned this into their bingo card for this season. 31 games played with an 11-9 record, a 3.32 ERA, a 3.4 WAR, pitched 181 and 2/3 innings, had 153 strikeouts, a 1.244 WHIP, was named to the All-Star games for the first time in his career, rightfully so. And what makes it even more remarkable for Christopher Sanchez, the home road splits to me are insane. Very polarizing, but at home for Christopher Sanchez, this is why he pitched Game 2 at Citizens Bank instead of Game 3 at Citi Field, as we know. He was phenomenal this season at home. 7-3 with a 2.21 ERA at home in 17 starts, struck out 99, walked 17, versus on the road where he was 4-6 with a 5.02 ERA with 54 strikeouts and 27 walks. Overall, absolutely, you could say one of the most improved Phillies from 2023 to 2024. When you look at last season's numbers, where he had a 3-5 record with a 3.44 ERA across 18 starts, he allowed 16 home runs in 99 1/3 innings. We just showed the numbers of how many innings he's pitched, 99 1/3 last season, and then was way better in his 181, doubled that this season in terms of the innings pitched. So for Christopher Sanchez, the only big blemish I have for him, the road games, which so different and nearly double the ERA on the road for Christopher Sanchez. I honestly can't knock him for that, though, because for this to be his full season as a starting pitcher for the Phillies, you're gonna have a regression somewhere, and there's gonna be something that needs some work and fine tuning. And for him to still be not only great in the regular season, gave us the lone win the Phillies had in the NLDS was Game 2. Christopher Sanchez pitching, I have to give him, I would say, an A. I'm between an A and an A-, to be honest. Honestly, there was nothing. Again, road games were a struggle for him, but I didn't even expect him to be that good this entire season, where we're even talking about him being an all-star and being someone you can count on in the postseason. Last year, we remember wondering if it was going to be Christopher Sanchez or Taijuan Walker pitching in the postseason. This year, it's a no-brainer. It's Christopher Sanchez. Game 2, it's an A. It's an A for me, I think. I'm gonna finish with.
All right.
I'm toying between like a 93, 94, but yeah.
I went A-, so I'm not that far off of you.
Okay.
The 3.4 WAR there. I was kind of amazed looking at like deep diving his stats. I expected better on the stat sheet. Like his whip went up like 0.2. Or excuse me, it went from 1.047 to 1.244. His hits per 9 went up 1. His walks per 9 went up almost a full walk per 9, and his Ks per 9 actually dropped over 1. So like all of these things happened statistically, where if you're just looking at the sheet, you go, huh, I'm shocked at the results. The biggest thing, though, is the innings pitch. When you jump from 99 innings pitched the year prior to 181 and your ERA drops, I kind of forgive all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I mean. It just kind of shocked me when I looked at it. I was like, wow, his whip was a lot higher, but it's a bigger sample size. So obviously some things are going to go up. Walks down, Ks up. That sounds like a rap song.
Walks down, Ks up.
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh, Sanchez.
Not you in your rapper bag.
Yeah, you know, just me
Okay.
spitting, freestyling.
Oh, wow. Then you killed it. You
yeah,
could have
no,
just left
it's
it.
over.
You had
Okay.
it. Like, let that.
My bad.
Yeah,
I went too far.
Let it simmer there.
Yeah. But overall, an A-, you know, like to go increase your innings pitched by 90 innings and to drop your ERA, it's remarkable. Like you said, the road starts was, you know, the point of worry a little bit with him. But overall, how can you not be thrilled with what Christopher Sanchez gave you and projecting forward, you know, giving him that extension? That is going to be an incredibly team-friendly deal if he's able to repeat what he did this year. So Christopher Sanchez, tremendous year. Hopefully he can get to 200 innings next year and continue. If you can hang around a 3.3 ERA or lower for your career at that money, the return on investment is incredible.
Absolutely.
We all silly like the mayor.